Hey everybody, it's Stan, aka Vimlossus, and today we're going to continue to go over the Thor Ragnarok Marvel Legends line, and we are going to be taking a look at Loki. Who doesn't love Loki? The wise-cracking, sarcastic, evil demigod son of a bitch himself, Mr. Loki. I love Loki. Maybe that's because he's a wise ass. I'm a wise ass. We'd probably be good friends. If he wasn't trying to kill me, of course. So, we'll go over Loki, take a look at him, go over the sculpting, the paint, the articulation, the price point, and an overall, and see where he ranks with the other ones. Now, if you've been watching all the other reviews, you've seen we've already covered Thor and the Nine Realms Warrior, or Ares himself. So today we're going to be taking a look at Loki. So, enough jibber jabber, let's get to it and check him out. Alright, going over what comes in the box. First, he comes with Hulk's right leg, looking pretty awesome. He also comes with his classic helmet with the huge horns. This looks great. It's a nice, soft, pliable material that you can place over his head. And he also comes with this cape. Now, if you were watching the opening intro, you saw that in the pose he didn't have the cape on, and there's a reason for that. And this piece irritates the hell out of me. Alright, so on the cape he's got these two little pegs. Now on his shoulder, I don't know if you can see in there, but he's got two little pegs right there, and that's where the cape has to go into. Now, because this is a soft, pliable material and it wants to kind of always pop up, you put the cape on, and just when you think you got it, damn thing pops off and goes flying. I found it's easier if you pop his head off, put the cape on, put it on, but it still doesn't want to stay. So, while the cape looks great, it just doesn't want to stay for me, and it's irritating. So, I usually just kind of toss it off to the side because I'm done with it. Alright, going over Sculpt. Again, they did a really good job. Now, he doesn't have as many fine details as some of the other ones that we've already kind of covered in this line. But what he does have, man, I can't talk today. Looks really good. You can see he's got these great wrinkles here in his tunic. Some nice little sculpted lines in here. Now, again, I don't know how accurate this is going to be to the movie because it's not out yet, but we shall see. But kind of going all the way throughout down to his boots. He's got really nice details in here on his back. Just folds everywhere they're supposed to be. This little shoulder gauntlet armor here has these, nice little ridges in it. The hair is nicely sculpted. Now the face looks really nice. This definitely looks like Tom Hiddleston to me. He's kind of got that smart ass smirk and just everything in the eyes, and the entire face looks fantastic. So again, they've nailed it. Now, I don't think this is their face technology yet. So if things are only going to get better from here, man, I can't wait to see it. So sculpting, even though there's not as much in this one as there are in some of the other characters, they still did a fantastic job. So for the sculpt, we're going to give it a good 9 out of 10. Alright, covering paint. Again, frustrating with the lack of paint wash. Oh, it's so irritating. And it's not like they didn't try, because if you look down here on the boots, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but it's black, but it's got this kind of bluish paint wash to it, and that looks fantastic. But it's nowhere else. That's it. Only on the boots. Everything else is just a solid color, nice and clean. Now Loki, he doesn't get too down in the dirt and in the mud like some of the other characters do. But still, a little bit of weathering would be nice. But I do like, this color combination's got this purple with this kind of really deep blue. The golds and the greens. Now, we're used to seeing Loki in green, so I wonder if they almost just threw this on here just as an homage to the classic Loki, just to have a little bit of green in there. But paint's really nice. Great skin tone. It's a little lighter, which I think Tom Hiddleston is. He's not too dark, so I think they did a really good job there. Hair looks great. I mean, paint looks, it looks good for what they have, but again, why only do paint wash on some of it and not all of it. So for paint, we'll give it an 8 out of 10. Alright, articulation is, now we kind of go back to the Thor articulation, but mine kind of has some issues. So with the head, he can look up that much. His hair is pliable, so it doesn't really kind of get in the way. Looking down, maybe he can bury his chin into his neck, so it looks great. A little bit of side to side. Now for somebody like Loki, he kind of always has that whimsical. I'd like to see more, and he does look around. Arm spins all the way around. Now the arm is supposed to come up. All right, we'll do it on this side. So the arm comes up. This arm on mine is completely locked. It will not come up at all, and I'm afraid if I keep going, I'm going to end up breaking it. So this arm kind of stays in place. Hopefully that's just the one I have and not indicative of all the other ones. So for elbows, double jointed elbows can come up that far. Upper arm rotation, this piece does get out of the way for that to move. No lower arm rotation. Wrist joint that swivels and hinges. Now into the chest, he's got this type of ab crunch on it, so he can get down amazingly well. Better than most of the other ones we've seen in this line so far. And he can get back like, oh, Hulk just snapped him in half basically. There is a rotation at the waist, but again, with this type of articulation, you don't get any side to side. The legs, he can kick up that far, come back about yay far. Upper leg rotation, double jointed knees, can almost kick himself in the ass. No lower leg rotation. Foot can go down that far, up about there, pretty good. And he does have ankle pivot. So the articulation is it's your standard. I prefer a ball joint in the waist just so we can get, I usually can't get this type of motion with it, but at least you get some side to side and a little more pivot. But the articulation overall is pretty good. Now on mine it is frustrating because this arm won't move. So just for that, I'm going to give the articulation a 7. Probably be closer to an 8 on everybody else's as long as your arm isn't frozen. Alright, price point, Marvel Legends, 20 bucks. Good deal. Get a crappy cape. A nice little headpiece for that. So 20 bucks again. It's what I'm used to paying, so I don't think that's a bad deal at all. So price point, 10 out of 10. So overall, it's a pretty decent Loki figure. He looks great. Not the colors we're used to seeing, but the likeness is there. A little bit of paint wash again, kind of irritating. My arm joint not moving to allow any swivel out. So anytime I have to put him in a pose, I got to put him like this, with his arm close to his body. But overall, not a bad figure. I think they nailed everything in all the right places. Kind of following in line with the rest of this wave. They're usually pretty awesome. There's little things that nitpick about it, and this figure is no exception. So for an overall, I'm gonna have to give it an 8 out of 10, and really just the lower score is because of lack of paint wash, which blah blah blah, we've heard that before, and really my arm joint, and this crappy cape, which again just does not want to stay. If anybody knows how to get this to stay, now I know I could probably just glue these pegs in. But I don't know if I want to glue them in, because then if I ever want to take pictures of them without it, then I can't. So now I'm kind of stuck. So if anybody has any tips maybe on how they get theirs to stay, or maybe theirs stays better and mine, it's just mine that does this, leave it in the comments. So as always, head on over to exclucollective.com to check out a full picture gallery of this guy right here, Mr. Loki, and we will see you next time. Peace.